The distress call arrived like a whisper through the void, barely more than static at first. Then the signal sharpened, revealing chaos, alarms blaring, hull breaches erupting like crimson blossoms, human voices screaming over each other, and finally, silence. Vanguard's reach was gone. 40,000 lives extinguished in under 11 seconds. Not by accident, not by pirates. Every fragment of energy signature traced back to technology only the Galactic Council, or someone with their clearance, could wield. Admiral Rhea Sorn leaned over the holographic display aboard the Aegis, her command vessel orbiting Terra. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, followed the dying echoes of the feed. The Council's excuses had already started circulating: rogue raiders, unstable alien factions, cosmic interference. Lies coded in politeness. Rhea's jaw tightened. "They think we'll swallow it," she muttered, voice low, but the edge was unmistakable. She swiveled to her executive officer, Lieutenant Suri Kane, a veteran of a dozen border skirmishes. "They'll regret underestimating us," Kane said, her tone steady. She'd seen the Admiral's anger before. It was controlled, purposeful. Dangerous. Rhea nodded. "Prepare Task Force Blacklight. We're going to find the truth before anyone can bury it." Even as they spoke, the political wheels were turning on Terra. The Terran High Council convened emergency sessions, urging restraint, reminding humanity of its fragile position in the Galactic Council. "Appeasement first," some said. Rhea's fingers slammed the table. "Appeasement is extinction in slow motion. Every second we waste, more of our people die in silence." The Council had underestimated humanity for centuries, dismissing humans as reckless, emotional, and impulsive. That arrogance had just cost 40,000 lives. And now, for the first time, they would see the consequences of that mistake. By midnight, Rhea had assembled Task Force Blacklight, a select team of intelligence operatives, combat specialists, and cyber infiltrators. Their mission was simple but dangerous: penetrate the Concord Spire, the Galactic Council's central megastructure, and gather evidence of the strike. The risk was enormous. Failure meant death, public disgrace, or worse, complete erasure of the remaining human colonies. The team's briefing room glowed with holographic projections of the destroyed colony. Rhea's finger traced the patterns of destruction. "Notice anything?" she asked. Sirius Vance, Blacklight's lead analyst, leaned forward. "All ordnance traces point to plasma torpedoes used only by Council fleets. No alien signatures, no rogue systems. Whoever did this planned it meticulously, down to the last second." Meticulously, Rhea repeated, tasting the word like ash. "And they expected us to believe it was chaos." Before anyone could respond, alarms blared aboard the Aegis. Red lights bathed the bridge in urgency. Kane's comm officer reported rapidly: "Incoming boarding craft, unknown registration. High-speed approach vector. Likely an interception attempt." Rhea's comm snapped into action. "Battle stations. Prepare countermeasures. I want their first strike neutralized before they dock." The engagement was swift, precise, and deadly. Rhea watched as sleek, Council-style interdiction craft approached, thinking they could catch humans off guard. But Terra's fleets were never unprepared. Magnetic disruptors and decoy drones tore the lead craft apart before it could fire. Rhea's gaze hardened. "They've escalated. That's confirmation." The next morning, Task Force Blacklight infiltrated the Concord Spire under the cover of routine diplomatic traffic. The spire itself was massive, a fusion of metal and light that dwarfed even the largest Terran orbital stations. Inside, marble corridors and crystalline communication hubs hinted at grandeur, but Rhea's focus was on the hidden systems. Sirius tapped a console, murmuring, "Encryption's heavier than anything we've seen, but there's a backdoor, looks like it was meant for internal audit, or sabotage." Rhea's eyes narrowed. "Then let's audit everything. Start from the colony strike logs. We need proof. And we need it fast." Hours turned into tense minutes as data streamed through portable decryptors. The team worked silently, the weight of what they might uncover pressing against every heartbeat. And then it came, orders signed by Chancellor Viekar himself, time-stamped weeks before Vanguard's reach even transmitted distress signals. Rhea stared at the hologram, lips pressed into a hard line. So he ordered it. Preemptive containment, he calls it. Not a raid, not a war, a containment. Kane's voice was tight with fury. Genocide, then. Rhea didn't reply. She didn't need to. Her mind already raced through retaliation, logistics, and strategy. Humanity had been cornered, insulted, and lied to for too long. And yet, she had no illusions about the scale of the challenge. The Council had ships, allies, and centuries of political maneuvering. But humans had determination, adaptability, and the one thing the Council consistently underestimated, resolve. The first assassination attempt against her came that night. A covert explosive device was planted aboard her shuttle, designed to detonate at precise warp speed. She discovered it moments before launch. Kane's hands shook slightly as they dismantled the mechanism, but Rhea's voice was steady. They think they can scare us. They think they can slow us down. She met each team member's eyes. Let them try. Every time they do, they only prove why they're about to lose. By the time Rhea returned to orbit, Terra's surface was quiet, but the silence felt heavy, as though the planet itself was bracing for what was to come. Task Force Blacklight regrouped, war maps spread before them. The paths of the Council strike fleet, the locations of remaining colonies, and the human countermeasures all lay bare in crisp projections. Rhea traced her finger across the hologram. They think we're prey, she said softly. They think we'll hide and beg for mercy. They think wrong. Her gaze lifted to the stars beyond the viewport. Somewhere out there, Viekar believed he had won. Somewhere, the Council assumed humanity would bow. And somewhere, the galaxy would soon learn that humans never bowed. Prepare the fleet, she said to Kane. We move at first light. Silence won't protect them. But it will follow us, after we're done. For the first time in decades, humanity's fury burned across the stars, not aimless, not reckless, but precise, relentless, and undeniably human. The galaxy had underestimated humans. And that was about to cost them everything. The morning light of terror reflected off the spire of the Terran Strategic Command, but the warmth was hollow. Rhea stood before a holographic table cluttered with data feeds, military vectors, and intercepted Council communications. Every transmission, every encrypted order they had decrypted, pointed to the same truth: the attack on Vanguard's reach was deliberate, premeditated, and sanctioned from the very top of the Galactic Council. Lieutenant Kane approached, her boots echoing on the polished floor. The Council claims ignorance. They're mobilizing a diplomatic investigation to reassure other member species. Rhea's eyes were cold, unyielding. They're rehearsing excuses. And the longer we wait, the more colonies they target next. This isn't diplomacy. It's preparation for extermination. Sirius Vance, crouched over a portable decryptor, finally spoke. We've extracted the full strike blueprint. Multiple colonies listed, timelines, fleet movements, even resource allocations. Viekar planned it like a military campaign. Rhea tapped the table. The hologram flickered under her fingers. Then it's not just murder, it's a preemptive war against us, hidden behind the Council's facade of order. We go public. Kane shook her head. Not yet. If we broadcast this now, the Council will claim fabrication. We need incontrovertible proof. Proof, Rhea said, will come from their own chambers. She gestured toward a live feed of the Concorde spire, faint lines of Council ships slipping through its docking bays. And we'll take it directly. The Council had underestimated human persistence. Rhea knew that. She had watched the deliberative species of the galaxy, Xyrans, Tralvians, Vorn, toying with bureaucracy like chess pieces, all the while ignoring humans, believing instinct and emotion inferior to logic. They were wrong. Dead wrong. Task Force Blacklight moved under the cover of Council-sanctioned maintenance crews. Every operative understood the stakes: failure meant death, capture, or propaganda against humanity. As they infiltrated deeper into the spire, Rhea felt the walls of the Council's influence, their cold order, pressing against her. The corridors were quiet, sterile, and deliberate, designed to intimidate. They arrived at the central data archives. Sirius worked his magic, bypassing layers of encryption, while Rhea and Kane monitored for any security breaches. Minutes felt like hours. Then, finally, the files unlocked, a cache of orders, communications, and recordings directly implicating Viaker Dros. Rhea's lips pressed into a thin line. This is it. Every colony slated for destruction, every fleet prepared to strike Earth and its colonies, all in his handwriting. Kane exhaled sharply. This is beyond rogue initiative. This is genocide. Rhea nodded. Exactly. And we can't wait for diplomacy. We can't let them rationalize murder with political language. We strike, but we do it with precision. Her calm blinked. A council officer's message arrived, demanding her immediate presence for a hearing. Rhea read it, then looked up at Kane. They want to arrest me. Trapped between diplomacy and execution, Kane said grimly. Rhea smirked slightly. Then we make them regret it. The hearing was supposed to be a formal procedure. Rhea appeared before the council chamber, the image broadcast to multiple systems. Viaker Dros sat at the head, his presence cold, a predator disguised as a statesman. Admiral Sorn, he said, his voice smooth, unflinching, you have accused the council of crimes against humanity. On what grounds do you make such claims? Rhea met his gaze directly. On grounds of evidence you cannot deny. Orders signed by you, transmission logs, fleet deployments, all point to premeditated attacks on human colonies. You call it containment. We call it extermination. A ripple ran through the chamber. Some delegates shifted uncomfortably, a few Zyrans smiled thinly, enjoying the spectacle. Viaker's expression remained unchanged. You are mistaken, he said evenly. The Council acts to preserve balance. Humanity's impulsive expansion threatens stability. These measures are regrettable, but necessary. Rhea leaned forward. Necessary? 40,000 dead? And the next colony? And the one after? You rationalize murder as necessity, Viaker. That stops now. Viaker's eyes narrowed. Your defiance is dangerous. You threaten peace. The Council will act to contain your fleet if you do not comply. Rhea turned to the Council delegates. Contain us? You cannot. You underestimated us for centuries. You labeled us reckless, emotional, inferior. And now, you've seen what we do when cornered. The session erupted in debate, procedural words flying like fire. Rhea slipped out under the guise of an escort, only to be intercepted by security in a corridor leading back to her transport. Ambush. Standard Council protocol. Task Force Blacklight engaged. The firefight was precise, coordinated, a dance of efficiency. Rhea moved through the chaos, directing the team, every step calculated. Council forces faltered. Humans had trained for this, anticipated it. By the time they extracted her to the ship, the corridor was littered with stunned security personnel, alive but subdued. In orbit, Rhea convened the Blacklight officers. Operation Titanfall is greenlit, she said. We no longer hide. We no longer negotiate with those who plan our eradication. Sirius looked uneasy. We go public? Rhea shook her head. Not yet. First, we hit their military capabilities. The Council's bureaucracy cannot withstand precision. We dismantle their fleets, disable their shipyards, and force the galaxy to see the truth through our actions. Then, when they cannot deny, we broadcast everything. Kane clenched her fists. And Earth? The colonies? They are our people. We defend them. Every ship, every station, every planet in human space is a fortress. We strike only where the Council would strike first. No civilian casualties. Precision, efficiency, justice. The ship's slip raft drives hummed softly beneath their feet, a promise of sudden movement across light years. Rhea traced the paths of Council fleets projected on the hologram. We are not reckless. We are humans. And they cannot prepare for what they refuse to understand. Hours later, Rhea addressed the fleet over secure channels. Her voice, steady, carried the weight of command and the quiet fury of a people betrayed. Humanity did not seek war. But we will finish it on our terms. Every strike will be measured, precise, and unavoidable. They sought to silence us. They will see our silence follow them, not in fear, but in respect. Prepare your crews. The galaxy is about to learn what it means to underestimate humans. As the fleet dispersed, each ship slipping into hyperspace lanes toward strategic positions, Rhea stood on the bridge of the Aegis, staring at the stars. Somewhere out there, Vanguard believed he had already won. He was wrong. Humans had been cornered, betrayed, and threatened. And now, like a storm no one could contain, they were about to strike back. The Council's chains of diplomacy were broken. And for the first time, the galaxy would see humans fight without restraint, but with purpose, discipline, and undeniable force. The silence of the void was about to be shattered by human resolve. The Council fleet had grown restless. Ships that once glided like sovereign shadows now trembled under human scrutiny. Every maneuver the Council tried, humanity anticipated, countered, and outperformed. Admiral Rhea Sorn watched the holographic projections of their first counterstrike unfold. Target the interdiction fleets first, she said, voice calm but decisive. Disable their mobility, cut off supply lines. We don't slaughter, they won't forget the precision of our response. Lieutenant Kane's fingers danced across the tactical console. Their main dreadnoughts are moving to intercept the outer colonies. If we delay, they'll hit civilian zones. Then we don't delay, Rhea said. Coordinate with every fleet. Slip raft drives engaged. Hit them where they're weakest, and make it decisive. The first strike was surgical. Human dreadnoughts, long hidden in dry docks across the frontier, appeared almost instantly behind Council supply convoys. Plasma discharges disabled engines, targeting arrays-fried weapon systems. Not a single civilian casualty. Humanity did not fight recklessly. They fought smart, and the galaxy noticed. A secure channel blinked. Vanguard's voice, cold and clipped, filtered through. Admiral Sorn. You overreach. Your actions will be contained. Rhea didn't flinch. Containment is your excuse for murder. You've underestimated humans for too long. Every move you make now counts against you, Vanguard. He hissed, a sound somewhere between rage and disbelief. You are reckless. Do you comprehend the weight of defying the Council? I comprehend, she said, that humanity refuses to be erased. The Council's superweapons activated in response. Planetary-scale EMP waves surged through contested sectors, leaving entire human colonies dark and isolated. Graviton interdiction fields warped space, trapping human fleets temporarily. But the humans adapted, fast. Autonomous AI recalibrated routes, slip raft vectors corrected in real time, and the fleets slipped free, leaving the Council's traps empty and their arrogance exposed. Rhea's fleet commander, Captain Eli Draven, reported from the front lines. They've deployed orbital graviton cannons. Ships under attack are reporting minor hull damage, but AI-driven evasive maneuvers have kept casualties below 3%. Rhea's eyes hardened. Good. Maintain pressure. Push them into panic, and we'll strike decisively at the throne citadel. The Council fractured. Multiple member species, once silent or supportive, now defected. Even staunch Siren generals questioned Vanguard's methods, horrified at the premeditated annihilation of human colonies. Small fleets switched sides mid-battle, joining human forces with coordinated attacks. Sirius Vance leaned over the command console, a trace of disbelief in his voice. They're actually siding with us. The Council underestimated not just human resolve, but how principled our methods appear, even to those outside our species. Rhea's lips curved in a fleeting smile. They saw precision and restraint. That's what humanity does better than anyone else, they strike decisively, but fairly. The throne citadel loomed, massive and imperious, when Rhea's fleet arrived. Viaker awaited her inside, the artificial gravity of the command chamber humming with tension. "You've crossed every boundary," he said, voice a low growl. "You've rallied the galaxy against the Council. You cannot comprehend the chaos you've unleashed." Rhea stepped forward, unwavering. "I comprehend fully. You plan to exterminate us. Every strike you authorized is evidence. And yet here we are. You failed to anticipate that humans will fight to survive, and with strategy, intelligence, and honor." Viaker's eyes narrowed. "Honor? You speak of honor as you dismantle fleets and break alliances." Rhea's gaze was steel. "It's not about honor. It's about survival. Something your species lost long ago." She activated the chamber's broadcast, transmitting every recovered council log, every order signed by Viaker, to every major system in the galaxy. Screens flickered to life across alien worlds as the truth poured in. Viaker Droz, the mastermind of preemptive genocide, was exposed to the very council he sought to control. Guards hesitated. Council members whispered, their authority crumbling in real time. The throne citadel's corridors, once humming with security, emptied as allies abandoned Viaker, refusing to fight for a tyrant. Viaker made a desperate move, attempting to escape through the citadel's outer corridors. Rhea pursued, her boots echoing against metal floors. "It ends here," she said, voice steady, precise. He raised a plasma blade, fury in his eyes. "You don't understand what humans are capable of." "I understand enough," she replied, sidestepping his swing, disarming him, and forcing him to the ground. "Humans are capable of justice. Not revenge. And you will answer for your crimes." The Citadel's automated defenses, sensing the confrontation, began a lockdown sequence. Viaker's escape route closed. He struggled, rage giving way to fear. Rhea activated a restraining field. His final words were a hiss, "This is not over." Rhea didn't respond. She secured him in a containment cell as the Citadel's systems self-stabilized. The silence after the storm was deafening. No cheers, no celebration, only the quiet weight of inevitability. The galaxy had witnessed the exposure, the precision, and the restraint of humanity. Back aboard the Aegis, Rhea convened her officers. "The Council will rebuild," she said, "but it will never be the same. Humanity has demonstrated strength, intelligence, and moral clarity. We've won more than battles, we've reshaped the balance of trust across the galaxy." Kane exhaled slowly. "And the colonies?" "All safe," Rhea said. "Every human settlement, every station, every ship intact. We struck at the Council's ability to threaten us again. The galaxy knows we will act when endangered, but we act responsibly, and decisively." Sirius Vance, still monitoring communications, added, "Several species are already negotiating with us. They're proposing joint security accords, citing your conduct, Admiral." Rhea's eyes swept across the holographic stars. "They will remember this. The galaxy underestimated humans, and that mistake will never repeat. Not because of fear, but because of respect earned through action." The silence that followed wasn't empty. It carried weight, a subtle resonance through human and alien worlds alike. The Council, fractured and humiliated, would rebuild, but under the shadow of human resolve. And humans, for the first time in centuries, did not need to prove themselves further. Their actions had spoken. Clear. Unyielding. Permanent. Rhea stepped to the bridge viewport, gazing at the stars. Somewhere out there, other species were recalibrating their assumptions, reassessing humanity's place in the galaxy. The galaxy had underestimated humans. It would not make that mistake again. The silence that followed was heavy, yes, but it was human silence. Full of resolve, of promise, and of inevitability. The kind of silence that only comes after justice has been done, after the storm has passed, and after humanity has spoken, without raising a single hand unnecessarily, but with every action deliberate and final. The stars outside seemed to shimmer differently now, as if the galaxy itself recognized that humans had arrived, not as prey, not as chaos, but as a force none could ignore. The wreckage of the Council Throne Citadel drifted silently in orbit, a monument to arrogance and miscalculation. Humanity's fleets maintained a cautious perimeter, not for conquest, but to ensure no remnants of V'Aker's loyalists could strike unexpectedly. Admiral Rhea Sorn stood on the Aegis bridge, gazing at the debris, feeling the weight of both victory and responsibility. "It's quiet," Lieutenant Kane said softly, standing beside her. "Too quiet." Rhea didn't respond immediately. She studied the jagged silhouettes of broken ships, the faint glows of damaged reactor cores. "Quiet," she said finally, "is what follows justice. Not the absence of danger, but the assurance that we survived, and the galaxy survived with us." Sirius Vance, monitoring communications from across human-controlled space, interrupted. "Multiple systems are reaching out, Admiral. Former Council members, neutral species. They want negotiations, security accords, recognition of humanity's role. Some even propose joint enforcement measures against rogue factions." Rhea nodded, a plan already forming in her mind. "Prepare preliminary treaties. We don't rush. Every accord must reflect mutual respect, not fear." The aftermath was a delicate operation. Humanity had demonstrated overwhelming capability, yet restraint had been its greatest weapon. Colonies were stabilized, fleets recalibrated, and communication networks restored. Rhea insisted on careful reconstruction rather than domination, insisting that strength without fairness would only breed resentment. A holographic projection flickered to life, V'Aker Droz, restrained in a specialized containment cell aboard the Aegis. His eyes burned with a mixture of hatred and disbelief. "You've won, Admiral," he spat, voice laced with venom. "But humanity's reach is limited. You will fail." Rhea leaned forward, her voice calm and measured. "Your definition of reach is flawed. Humans endure, adapt, and respond with precision. We don't fail because we act strategically, not impulsively. You failed because you underestimated us." V'Aker's jaw tightened. "I only sought balance. To prevent chaos. You call your actions justice, but the galaxy is a storm. Chaos cannot be contained." Rhea's eyes narrowed. "Chaos is inevitable. But survival and principles are not. We do not destroy indiscriminately. We correct. We endure. And we ensure that humanity is no longer prey to fear disguised as order." The Council had been fractured, but not annihilated. Former allies of V'Aker convened in scattered meetings across the galaxy, debating reforms, accountability, and representation. Many were eager to reconcile with humans on terms of transparency and fairness. Some species that had been neutral observers now considered the Terran Strategic Command a stabilizing force, capable of moral judgment and decisive action. "Humanity's position is secure," Sirius said, studying the data streams. "Other systems are adjusting political alignments. Several sectors are voluntarily disarming older Council-class warships, offering them to human oversight to prevent future misuse." Rhea allowed herself a brief nod. "We've won more than battles. We've set precedent." Even as the immediate threat faded, challenges remained. Reconstruction of colonies, technological recovery, and political integration across the galaxy demanded meticulous attention. Rhea coordinated her teams with military precision, delegating responsibilities but remaining involved at every level. Every decision reinforced the principle that humans were not conquerors, but protectors and innovators. "Admiral," Kane said, "there's an urgent message from Terra. Citizens are calling for a public address. They want to know the Council's future and humanity's role in galactic governance." Rhea considered the request. Public transparency had always been a human value, even during war. She activated the communications array, her image projected across multiple colonies, space stations, and allied systems. My fellow humans, allies, and observers across the galaxy, she began, her voice calm yet commanding, we have endured betrayal and faced attempted extinction. Humanity has acted to protect itself and to prevent further loss. Our response has been measured, decisive, and necessary. The galaxy has witnessed not only our capability, but our restraint. We do not conquer for pride, nor do we destroy for vengeance. We act to ensure survival, fairness, and justice. Her gaze swept the projection, piercing through screens and across worlds. The Council, as it once existed, is no more. Reformation is underway. Humans will participate, not dominate. We extend cooperation to all sentient species willing to act with integrity. The galaxy will learn that humans can be counted upon, not as pawns, but as partners in ensuring that justice prevails. The response was immediate. Messages flooded back from allied species, neutral observers, and even former Council members seeking reconciliation. Confidence in humanity surged, while fear of unilateral human aggression diminished, precisely as Rhea intended. Later, in the quiet of her quarters aboard the Aegis, Rhea reflected on the months of conflict. Every choice had carried risk, every operation balanced between retaliation and diplomacy. But humanity had emerged not just alive, but respected, their principles intact. Kane joined her, holding a cup of hot synth brew. You ever think we overdid it? She asked lightly, though her eyes held seriousness. Rhea took the cup, staring at the stars through the viewport. No. We acted with precision. We struck where necessary, protected where possible. That is human strength, not just power, but judgment. The galaxy needed to learn that lesson. Sirius entered, tablet in hand. Updates from the field. Reconstruction teams report full operational capability at Vanguard's reach and adjacent colonies. The civilian recovery units are thriving, and they're organizing education and infrastructure efforts with remarkable speed. Your strategies are working. Rhea nodded. Humans endure. We rebuild. We advance. And we do it together. That's the point V'Aker never understood. Across the galaxy, systems began integrating human-led reforms. Trade routes reopened, diplomatic channels expanded, and former Council factions accepted the Terran Strategic Command as an equal partner. The lesson was clear: humans were not only capable fighters, they were organizers, protectors, and unifying agents of stability. In her final briefing of the day, Rhea addressed her senior officers. The galaxy will continue to challenge us. There will always be threats, instability, and the unpredictable. But humanity will meet them. We've proven our resolve, our capability, and our fairness. And we will continue to lead not by fear, but by example. Kane smiled. We've done it, Admiral. Humanity's place is secure. Rhea's eyes lingered on the stars. It's not about security. It's about recognition. The galaxy now knows humans are not to be underestimated. That knowledge, earned through precision, perseverance, and principle, is worth more than any victory. The stars outside shimmered with distant light, silent witnesses to a civilization that had faced near annihilation and emerged not only unbroken, but stronger, wiser, and undeniably human. Somewhere in the void, V'Aker Droz remained contained, a reminder of the consequences of underestimating those who fight for survival with intelligence and honor. And as the Aegis drifted in orbit, Rhea allowed herself a moment of satisfaction, not triumph, not celebration, but quiet assurance. Humanity had survived. Humanity had acted decisively. Humanity had earned its place in the galaxy. And the silence that followed was no longer empty, it carried weight, respect, and the promise of a future shaped by human hands. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again.